Welcome back to Old School Sports and our franchise hockey manager playthrough of the New York Islanders. We are nearing the opening of the 2027 to 2028 season, and the Islanders are three-time defending Stanley Cup champions. So we are all in on this season, going to try to match those Islanders from 1980 to 1983 with 4 consecutive Stanley Cup championships. We will have a new coach this season. Brought Bruce Cassidy, former Capitals and Bruins coach, on board to join us. He was fired by the Bruins in the middle of last season, but we think that he will be a quality coach for us this coming season. And we made 2 key acquisitions in the offseason to our already strong roster. First one, actually not the first one. The first one was a massive trade for Noel Gunler, the winger from Carolina. And we had to give up quite a bit to get him. We had to give up 3 first-round draft choices, as well as our veteran right winger Travis Konechny, to bring on Gunler, but incredible player. Has scored well over 30 goals for 3 consecutive seasons for the Hurricanes. 26 years old, hopefully right in the prime of his career, and hopefully he can team up with our captain Matthew Barzal on the first line and provide a ton of offense for us. The other big acquisition we made was bolstering our blue line, picking up the versatile defenseman Miro Heiskanen in a trade with the Stars. This one, we actually got a first-round pick back in return, but we had to give up the young prospect Justin Huynh, who we had traded Ottinger for a year ago. Going to probably be a brilliant defenseman one day, but we also have a chance to win 4 consecutive Stanley Cups for the first time in over 40 seasons, since the New York Islanders did it a long time ago. When you've got an opportunity like that, we are admittedly all in on this season. So we are going to kick things off, see how the season goes, obviously have very high expectations to hopefully compete for the President's Trophy, and then hopefully, even more importantly than that, make a long run in the Stanley Cup playoffs as we go for number 4 in a row. Well, just a few days into the season, and although we're 2-0, got some bad news, and that Heiskanen is going to be out with a broken toe for the next 1 to 2 months. So one of our big acquisitions, and I believe the second highest paid player on our team now, behind only Barzal and Heiskanen, going to be out. But rather have him out at this point early in the season than to have him out later in the season or in the playoffs. So hopefully he can get healthy and recover from that broken toe relatively quickly. Well, we made it to November. The Islanders are 6-3, so we're playing well. Our goalie, Brett Brochu, just won the Goalie of the Month award. You can see 5-3 start, but a .916 save percentage and .275 goals against average for the youngster. Going to take a quick look at our monthly budget. Still will continue to spend a little bit extra on scouting, a little bit extra on player morale, and a little bit extra on attendance, but I don't think we need to get too exotic with what we're doing. Believe we've been selling out every game, but I probably should check on that just to make sure. Yeah, we are still selling out at 17-113 every game in the UBS arena, so no need to spend anything more than we currently are on encouraging people to come. So hopefully that will give us a few extra points in the budget for when we get to next off season. But right now we're more focused on hopefully continuing to win some games and hopefully making a long run in the playoffs once the regular season's over. And taking a quick look at the standings, you can see we're tied for first in the Metropolitan Division and tied for first in the entire Eastern Conference, but tied with 3 teams in the Metropolitan Division and 2 more in the Atlantic to be on top of the Eastern Conference. So we're just one loss away from being on the road for our first round series. So hopefully we can string some wins together here. See the acquisition of Gunler, been great so far, tied for the league lead with 9 goals. And last year's goal scoring leader, Matthew Barzal, 8 assists on the season, coming off of the first 51 goal season of his career. You can see he's only got 2 goals and 8 assists so far, but has been making a lot of plays with Gunler, who has 9 goals and 2 assists. So kind of interesting. Their stats are almost completely opposite, but they are doing well together on that first line. And my dog seems quite upset about something right now. Before we move on, just wanted to report back that no UPS drivers were harmed in the delivery of the package that the dog was just barking at. Well, just suffered another injury as our brilliant young winger Tanner Howe is going to be out for 1 to 2 months. Really came into his own last season. In his rookie year, we brought him right from the juniors to the NHL, and he's never looked back. Coming off the best season of his career, 23 goals and 43 assists as a 21-year-old. You can see off to a bit of a slow start this year with just 4 assists through his first 10 games, but still will be a player that we will definitely miss having on the ice for a month and a half till we can get him back. But we do have some good players down in Bridgeport. Bring somebody up to replace him. Most likely we'll go with some youth. I think there's 2 obvious options. One would be Otto Stenberg, who was kind of the last cut of our team. And then there's also Jeremy Leroux. We are going to actually give Leroux a little time up with the Islanders right now. Both having nice seasons in Bridgeport, but we'll go with the younger player to get him a little bit of a run on the ice with the big club. Looking at where we are right now with injuries, we're still 1 to 2 weeks away from Heiskanen recovering from that broken toe. So hopefully he will be back soon, and hopefully we will have Tanner Howe back before the end of the year. Well, we've made it to the month of December, and the news is really good. Islanders standing with a record of 17-6, 34 points. Best record in the game. Obviously, the easiest path for us to win another Stanley Cup is going to be to have home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. So the goal is absolutely to win the President's Trophy, which we are on our way to, but we still have got close to 60 games before anything will be official. You can see Gunler's been a great addition, leading the league in goals with 19. And then Fox and Barzal are both in the top 8 in the league in terms of assists. So the team is generating a lot of offense. Brochu leads the league in wins. He is almost an everyday goalie for us, which is kind of crazy when you look at the depth that we have. And Peric, who's a 5-star goalie, has played only 3 games for us. And he quite honestly hasn't played all that well in those 3 games with a 1-2 record, 3.67 goals against average, certainly being outplayed by Brochu. But if it was up to us and we were coaching the team, would probably have a much more even split between the 2 of them in the amount of time that they are playing goaltender for us. Well, the calendar is flipped to 2028, and the Islanders are still just running along as good as we could hope. 26-9-1 record, 53 points, best in the NHL. Gunler, the big acquisition that we traded away, not just 3 number 1 draft picks, but also a exceptional player in Konechny for, is proving to be worth it as we chase the Stanley Cup. Still leading the league with 25 goals, although he has been banged up a bit with back spasms and missed the last couple games, but hopefully he will be back soon. Well, we're now into the month of February, and coming off an 11-2-1 month, the Islanders are operating like a well-oiled machine at this point. 51 games into the season now, 76 points, so we are up 10 points on the Devils for the Metropolitan Division, and up 9 points on the Panthers for the best record in the Eastern Conference, and up 5 points on the Vancouver Canucks for the best record in all of hockey. So the goal of winning the President's Trophy definitely seems like it is within reach for the Islanders at this point. Gunler, who is now banged up a little bit with a black eye, still has second in the league with 32 goals, having just a nice season for us, but certainly not the only player having a good year for us so far. Although Barzal is not going to be leading the league in goals again this year, with 22 goals and 36 assists, does have 58 points through 51 games. So a real strong season for the captain also, after he led the league in goals for the first time last season. So everything is going well for the Islanders. Mentioned the minor injury to Gunler with a black eye, but other than that, nobody is injured. We've got the roster that we want. Everyone is healthy. The goal is just to keep people healthy for the next 2+ months until we get to the playoffs. Probably will not be doing too much at the trade deadline. You can see our salary is already $81.2 million. So we only have a small amount of wiggle room. Really, the only way I think we're going to do much of anything before the trade deadline is if we happen to have a serious injury over the next 3 weeks, which hopefully we won't. Well, we're approaching the trade deadline, and I may have lied when I said we weren't going to do anything. Adam Pelech has just not been playing much for us. It's clear that he is not, he's our 7th defenseman, and we're spending close to $6 million a year on him. He is a fantastic stay-at-home defenseman. You can see, even at 33 years old, still has a great defensive profile in the game. But he's just not getting a lot of playing time. So the thought is, do we try to move on from Pelech to open up some cap space and make a trade? Fedotov, the youngster, who actually not that much of a youngster, but the free agent who we signed last offseason, is probably the weakest player that we have among our forwards. Only 9 points in 33 games. And you can see even when he is playing, he's playing less than 10 minutes a game. So we could certainly upgrade that position. And when I look at what is available on the trade block, a couple interesting options. First, Joel Farabee from the Flyers on the trade block in the last year of his contract. Really good offensive player, similar in skill level to Gunler. I don't know that he's quite that good, making $6 million. Have to see what the Flyers are looking for him, but would be a huge upgrade for us if we're able to add him to the offense. Obviously, to be able to do that, we would have to trade away Pelech, which probably not going to be the greatest thing for team chemistry, but he's just not playing for us. So that's one thing to think about. And then the other thing to think about is going back to our friends on the Rangers, or perhaps Montreal, and picking up one of the young defensemen, Jackson Lacombe, making $2.5 million, probably not going to work for us. But Dominic Fensor, only making $850,000. from New York. Would be popular to bring him back if we could possibly make a trade for Fensor to fill in on the blue line. We'd essentially be bringing on Fensor and Farabee, and then we would be hoping to trade away Pelech somehow, and then demoting Fedotov, who doesn't have to go through waivers at this stage of his career. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at a high level. It may be crazy to get rid of Pelech when we're trying to go on this run at this point. He's been with us, almost as long as anybody at this point. You can see playing for the Islanders at the NHL level since the 2015-2016 season. It's 2028 right now. 33-year-old veteran has meant a ton to the team, but clearly in the eyes of our new coaching staff led by Bruce Cassidy, he's kind of the seventh defenseman we have. And if he's not going to play and we can instead bring on a big-time winger, we're going to explore that. And we played around with a trade for Farabee, who would be a huge pickup for us, but we just don't have the capital to do it. We offered Ivanov, who's a really good young goalie, Daniil But, who, 3.5-star potential player, Fedotov, who I mentioned, and then a first-round pick, the only one that we have, the one that came back to us from Dallas in the trade, and then our own second-round pick in the coming draft this year, and still not even close to having them accept the offer. So it was probably a little crazy to think about trading away Pelech anyways, but clearly we just, with the way we've kind of denuded our farm system and traded away most of our draft picks, just do not have the chips to bring on a big-time player like Farabee at this point. And we did receive a offer for Pelech after putting him on the trade block a couple days ago. Hurricanes would send us center Juha Poiri, young center, 22 years old, but doesn't look like he's ever going to develop into anything more than a third or fourth line player at the NHL level. So I think this means that the Islanders are going to stand pat. I guess we could still potentially try to make a trade for Fensor from Montreal. He honestly wouldn't be a huge upgrade for us. He is from New York, so he'd be popular to bring him on board. The issue is that we wouldn't actually send Pelech down. The only defender we have that doesn't have to go through waivers is the youngster Matteo Rotundi. We would just be sending him down to Bridgeport, and then that would just give us super depth if we did have any injuries. I guess we could, then try to trade Pelech. We'd have to do it today, but we're opening up a lot of cap space by trading Pelech if we do that. And I do think that there could be situations in the playoffs, particularly if we do have some injuries, where having a stay-at-home blue liner like Pelech may still pay some dividends for us. So, I think we're going to stand pat. We've got the best record in hockey, although we are now only 2 games up on Vancouver and only 6 games up on Florida in the East. But just doesn't seem like it makes sense to really shake things up when we're playing this well. Well, the month of February was not a great one for the Islanders. Record was only 5-5-1, and you can see when we look at the standings, stuck at 85 points, and we are now tied with Vancouver for the best record in hockey and only 4 games ahead of the Panthers for the best record in the Eastern Conference. So although, a 41-19-3 record is good by just about any measure. Need to kind of play a little better over these last 19 games to ensure that we've got home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. You can see, in addition to Gunler still being one of the top goal scorers in the league, already has more goals here in his first year with the Islanders that he had in the entire season last year with the Hurricanes. Both Perek and Brochu are in the top 5 in the league in goals against average. Perek has done that in just 14 games, while Brochu has typically been the starter, played 50 games already for us this season. Well, the month of March was incredible for the Islanders. Went on an 11-3-1 run over the last month, and that has absolutely allowed us to dominate and take over the run for the President's Trophy with 6 games left. We haven't totally clinched it. If Vancouver went 6-0 and we went 0-6, we would end up tied with them at 108 points. But we're really just one win away. So the big goal now is going to see if Gunler, like Barzal last season, can play strong down the stretch and win the league or lead the league in goals. We will see whether we can win one more game to clinch the President's Trophy. Actually, Vancouver's not even the closest team to us anymore. It's now the Lightning, but one win will still clinch it all for us. And most importantly, the goal over these last 6 games is to remain healthy. The team is totally healthy right now. We have made one minor move. We brought up Otto Stenberg not too long ago, and we sent down the youngster that we had picked up, Fedotov, to Bridgeport. Hadn't been incredibly productive in his first year with the Islanders, so give him a little seasoning at the AHL level. But neither of those two should be playing all that often once we do get into the playoffs. So the goal for these next 6 games is to hopefully just remain healthy and position ourselves for a long run in the playoffs. So we went 2-2 last week, so we have clinched the President's Trophy, 112 points with just 2 games left. You can see we've got Washington tomorrow, and then we will finish up on Friday against the Hurricanes, both games at home, so hopefully we can finish strong. But as we had been worried about, a couple of injuries, Oliver Wahlstrom, bruised shin, day-to-day, not all that important. But the leading scorer on our team, Noel Gunler, dizziness and nausea, will be out for 1 to 2 weeks. So the hope is that he doesn't miss too much of the way in the playoffs. We're going to put him on the injured list right now, but clearly that has ended his hopes to lead the league in scoring. Going to finish his first season with the Islanders with 45 goals, 36 assists, for 81 points in 74 regular season games, and hopefully he will be raring to go by perhaps game 3 or 4 of our first playoff series. And the regular season is now over. We did win our last 2 games, so finish 56-22-4, 116 points. Win the President's Trophy, so we will have home ice advantage as we try to win 4 consecutive series to win our 4th consecutive Stanley Cup. Gunler ended up 4th in the league in goals scored, but you can see that despite the great offense he put up for us while he was healthy, our goalies were really critical to our success. Perek led the league with a 1.85 goals against average in 23 games. 15-5 record. And then Brochu was third in goals against average at 2.57, played 61 games for us with a 40-17-4 record, ended up finishing third in the league in wins. Perrick, in addition to leading the league in goals against, also led the league in save percentage in the limited usage that he got. So the Islanders are ready for the playoffs. You can see at this point, Gunler, the only player on the disabled or the injured list, he is day-to-day at this point with dizziness and nausea. So hope is maybe he only misses a game or two in our first-round series. Looks like that is likely to be against the Rangers. When we look at the wild card standings, it'll be either the Rangers or the Hurricanes, but I think it'll be the Rangers as we have the most points in the Eastern Conference. So with that, we will call this episode a wrap. We are going to be back with the quest for the fourth consecutive Stanley Cup and our run in the playoffs, as well as a recap of the season in our next episode. Until then, thank you so much for watching and hope you have a great day.